hey, I made something for you. So the team at WriteWorks and I collaborated to put together an AI usage policy that you can swipe for free, customize in a way that makes sense for your firm, and arguably just as important, we put together a table of all of the major AI chat tools so you can compare security policies, pricing, features on a single view. Look at this. This table was last updated in late July, but we will continue to update this as things change because it is AI. So think of this as like centralized due diligence. What once required each of us to go out and do a whole bunch of homework, we've centralized here for anyone to borrow from. And the reason why you need an AI usage policy is that we need to put the best AI tools possible into the hands of our teams to do their jobs. The high schoolers that are using ChatGPT to write their essays right now, those are the people that I want working for me. But unlike most tech adoption in our firms, like a new practice management system where adoption is top down and we build out this implementation plan and train everyone on what each button does, adoption of AI assistants kind of needs to be the opposite. It needs to actually be bottom up. I want you to use that assistant for the very specific and personal to you workflow problems that you have. That annoying data format conversion that you have to do for one client every month. The very specific pains that nobody's ever gonna build a platform to solve for that take up the bulk of your day. These are killer AI use cases right now. And until we get these tools in people's hands to start experimenting with them responsibly, we aren't gonna take advantage of what AI assistants have to offer. Now, there's a bunch of helpful stuff in this policy. Links to all this below, by the way. I wanna call out what in my opinion is the most important part of this framework that you need to define and your team needs a clear understanding of. The approved use table. Look at this. It breaks down AI use cases by the types of data involved. Public data, stuff anyone can find online. Non-confidential data, things that aren't generally public but also aren't confidential. My mind goes to, things that my firm's developing for marketing purposes. Confidential information, the stuff we're required to keep a lid on, usually client info, and personal information, the stuff that goes as far as identifying people, social security numbers, addresses, that sort of thing. For each of these different use cases, you will define the approved apps for your team because the best tool for marketing, a generally non-sensitive use case, even if it doesn't come with very good data protection, I want to put the best tool for marketing in the hands of my marketers because that doesn't require tight security rules. But if I'm doing something with client data, something more sensitive, then those use cases should be restricted to only the apps allowing for the greatest level of data control. For any given job in my firm, my goal is to put the best tool for that job into the hands of my team. Now, if you listen to my podcast, this is the framework we've been pushing clear back to last year. In just this single table, you can put it on an index card. It's a single visual reference that your entire team can use to make use of the best tool in the context of whatever information they are pumping into that chat assistant. So you can build out a list of examples here, which is probably helpful so your team understands what falls into each category. And then this serves as kind of like your green light. You can say, go wild, but do so responsibly, right? Now, what are the tools that I need to be considering? Check this out. This table compares the leading AI chat assistants today. You've got ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, and Spark. And while there are lots more chat assistants, this covers probably 95% of what people are using today. But say you even did want to go off menu, you can use this table as a reference for what types of questions you ought to be asking the vendor to get an understanding of their approach to security. The table calls out different plans available, their cost, things like token limits, which is basically how much a language model can remember at any given time. Lots of info on functionality, but the juiciest bit down here, data usage for training. It was not that long ago that virtually everyone was training their models on the conversations we had with it. This was the big concern with AI language models. If I ask it a question with something sensitive in it, oh my gosh, it's gonna get trained into the data set and somebody else is gonna stumble into a copy of Daryl's W-2. All of this has gotten much, much better. You can see pretty much across the board here, with these tools specifically, data training on conversations with the assistant is largely no longer happening. But at the end of the day, you still gotta make the decision. You gotta get with your IT advisor and decide which of these apps are appropriate for which data type. How you complete this table is totally up to you. And it's okay if you wanna start conservative. The most important thing is that we define the boundaries for our team so that within them, they can innovate. Now, before we wrap up, I want to share a couple best practices on implementation, a couple tips from the guide. All this stuff is going to be linked below, and a couple ideas I've seen in practice that are worth mentioning. First, it's very important that you designate an AI champion, someone who's going to keep their eye on AI developments and communicate important changes to the team. Even things as simple as this table updating. In fact, you can actually subscribe here to get updates so you're notified if there's any changes in this table. But as with all important things inside your firm, you gotta make it somebody's job. Someone ought to be keeping an eye on what's happening in the AI space, and until it's part of someone's job, it's inevitably gonna be an afterthought. Now, depending on the size of your firm, it may make sense to also have an AI council to develop a plan for what ongoing training looks like. But if you take one thing from this video, know that it all starts with simply putting tools into people's hands and seeing what they can do with them. It will honestly amaze you. So create a space where people can share their wins, like a Teams channel, Slack channel, something like that. Award a cool new AI use case of the month. Start a group text with your nerd friends that also run accounting firms to share ideas. When it comes to how you talk about this with your team, be visible in your praise. And this is a biggie. Consider whether the incentive structure for your team actually rewards this type of innovation. If the big boss is saying out of one side of their mouth, "We're really excited about the opportunities AI is gonna enable for us," yep. Meanwhile, team members are incentivized by billable hours and have absolutely nothing to gain by innovating. In fact, they're arguably punished if they take any of these detours to explore whether there's a more efficient way to get the work done. Then we're not really like putting our money where our mouth is. We're not fostering a culture of curiosity as long as you live and die by, I don't know, billable hour metrics or something like that. Now, if you're not sure if you're on the AI boat yet, regardless of what you think about all of this, you have to at least acknowledge we are in the midst of a technological change that is happening unbelievably fast. The rate at which new things are coming out, new AI companies are cropping up and going away, the rate at which the quality of these AI assistants is developing. If you think about all of the different types of tech that you use within your firm and the rate that it's progressing, there is nothing else that is progressing as fast as AI is today. So an investment in getting better with AI assistance and upskilling your team is an investment that will almost certainly pay dividends. Not only in the immediate term, because these tools are already really useful, but even more so down the road as month over month, year over year, these models become capable of amazing new things that we frankly can't even imagine right now. There is nothing else in your tech stack that compares to this. So make sure you're creating an environment that enables your team to find success in a shift that is much, much bigger than your firm and bigger than the accounting profession. It's a shift that's frankly impacting all of knowledge work. Now, what's in it for RightWorks to put this together? Well, they built Spark, and the goal is for it to basically be like the ChatGPT of the accounting profession. Now, this isn't a sponsored video. I worked with RightWorks to put together this resource because it's something that we all need, but don't need to all develop it independently. So RightWorks wants to educate accountants to get more comfortable with chat assistants, what's inbounds, what's out of bounds, because they're seeing the tremendous power of leveraging this stuff in your workflow every day with the tool they've developed for it, Spark. I'll put a link to that down below as well. Now, getting these tools into your team's hands, that's powerful. You can start sharing wins with each other, but bigger picture, this community, the profession, we can also share wins with each other. And I want to see them in the comments. What's a cool use case you've unlocked? What do you use these tools for most? Drop a note in the comments, and if you're still getting started with this stuff, skim through those comments. You may find a couple cool ideas that'll show you how to start making use of AI assistants responsibly.